Hello class. This video contains information that will help you graph vertical and horizontal parametric equations and then also graphing oblique parametric equations. The first three slides deal with vertical and horizontal. The last two will help you understand oblique parametric equations. This first parametric equation is x equaling 3t and y equaling 4. If you go to your calculator, make sure the mode is connected and you turn your axes on by going to second zoom, which is your format key. The viewing window for this and all the equations in this video is off to the right. Your t-min is going to go from 0 to 2 with t-step of 0.1, and then your x and y will be your standard viewing window of a negative 10 to 10, scale 1 for both x and y. So take a minute, make sure all of that is set, and then come back to this video. So you may want to press pause. Now that you have all that set, what you can do is type the equation in and press graph, and you'll notice that you end up with a horizontal line. That horizontal line, every point on it has a y value of 4. So if you were to push trace and trace along that, you'll notice that t increases by 1/10 or 0.1 from 0 to 2, giving you 20 points along that line. And your x-coordinate will vary as t varies, 0.3, and then 0.6, and then 0.9, so on and so forth. And excuse me, you'll have 21 points, because you will have the 0.00, or when t is 0 also. So your x takes on all those values and your y stays at 4, creating the horizontal line. Now let's create a vertical line where x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 2t minus 1. Notice if you graph that on your viewing window, and always feel free to pause this so you can complete those steps, you'll see a vertical line where x takes on all of the values of 2, while all of the values of 2 for where t is defined from 0 to 2 in steps of 0.1. And y is taking on those values from a negative 1 all the way up to 3. It is also important to notice where the graph begins. The graph begins at 2, negative 1, because at t being 0, your beginning point is 2, negative 1. Now let's graph parametric equations where you have 3t cosine of an angle measures 0 degrees and 4t times the sine of 0 degrees plus 2. Now if you recall, the cosine of 0 is 1, and the sine of 0 happens to be 0. Therefore, in essence, what you are graphing is x equaling 3t and y equaling 4t times 0 is 0 plus 2 is 2. This is going to give you another horizontal line. And when you look at your graph, you'll see that you have a horizontal line for t again going from 0 to 2, and y taking on the values of 2, and x taking on those values from 0 up to 6. Alright, so now let's graph oblique parametric equations. Take a minute, type in the equations that you see in this video, and you may pause this to do so. Now that you have those equations typed in, one thing that you'll notice is that you end up with an oblique line when you take a look at the graph. It's also a line that appears to be starting at 0, 2, down in there, and going up. This graph does have a slope, and you might be able to imagine what the slope is based on that 3 times t and 5 times t, but also you're going to have to take into consideration that cosine of 45, because the cosine of 45 and the sine of 45 both happen to be the square root of 2 over 2, or 7.07. So your equation x equals 3 times the cosine of 45, or 2.121 times t, and y would simplify into 5 times the sine of 45, which is 3.536 times t plus 2. These values right here, and you'll get this in another video, will help you define what the slope of your oblique line happens to be. But again, it starts at the point of 0, 2. Here's just one more example of an oblique parametric equation where x is equal to 3t plus 1, y equals 5t minus 2. You'll notice those values that you add correspond to where the graph starts, and it's oblique with actually a slope that's going to be defined by the coefficients of t. And in this particular case, your slope comes out to be 5/3 for your parametric equation. In the next video, you'll find out how to calculate a linear equation that correlates to or corresponds to a pair of parametric equations. Hopefully this video has helped you understand how to graph vertical, horizontal, and oblique asymptotes.